We're gonna get YouTube up first. YouTube's up. We're live on YouTube. Just waiting for Facebook. As usual. It's red. Is it good if it's red?
I don't know.
It's supposed to be green. It's usually green. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're green. All right, we can start. Cue the music.
Welcome into the Nerded Up Podcast.
Welcome into the Nerded Up Podcast. Well, I'm Josh Beard, at Josh Beard Radio on Twitter. Broadcasting with Stefen Mazzone, at Mazons on Twitter. I forgot about my microphone. I forgot to put it in front of my face. Although it's been really, really loud today, so I don't know if I should put it in front of my face. We're broadcasting on Phantom Facebook's only live sports network, as per the huge. You can check us out at facebook.com/nerdeduppod or at nerdeduppod on Twitter. We don't have any third guest tonight. We still don't have Carrie. I'm pretty sure he died somewhere. That's super sad, but not really. He's alive and well. What the last time we talked to Carrie, he said how many days? He's probably got like a week or two, something like that left.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years.
Oh my God, two more years. 2 more years of doing Nerded Up with just me and Stefen. Sounds wonderful to me because we don't have to listen to that a-hole interrupt us and naysay all the shit we want to talk about. But no other guests tonight. I was going to have my friend CJ on, but we didn't get to do the show on Monday, so we're going to have him on next week on the show. And we'll try to fill in with some other guests until Carrie comes back, because we all know that he's the one that holds this show together in the first place. I'm not really good at what I do, and Stefen does a good job, but he has to put up with me the entire time. And so it's just a recipe for disaster. Stefen needs Carrie, Carrie needs Stefen, and I'm just kind of here, I guess. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're joining us on Facebook or on YouTube, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Destiny 2 Warmind Expansion. I know if Carrie were here right now, he would say this: I don't give a shit. That's the perfect Carrie Craig impersonation, by the way. I'm actually kind of excited about this expansion. We'll dive into that a little bit. I'm going to convince Stefen. I'm going to tell Stefen why he needs to play God of War. Because he didn't want to play it, because he says it's just one giant escort quest, which is kind of true, but not. He's more of a helper than you escorting him. But we'll dive into God of War and why. Honestly, it's the best game that's ever come. It's the best game on PS4. I'll say that. The only game that could rival it is The Last of Us. And I know Stefen hates that game. Probably a bad example to use when trying to convince him to buy it and play it. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to blow past that real fast. We're going to end with our Avengers Infinity War predictions. I'm going to see the movie on Friday morning. I don't get to go on Thursday or tomorrow night because I have some other stuff with Phantom that I'm going to be doing. We're going to do a draft show, so check out Phantom. Check out Phantom on Facebook, because we're going to do an awesome draft show tomorrow night during the draft. But I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be busy with that. So Friday morning, I'm going to go see the movie. Stefen, when are you going to see Infinity War?
I'm going to see it Saturday night.
Saturday night. So I'm going to see it before you. Once again, yeah. I win. I didn't even know we were in a competition.
Yes. No.
Anyway, moving on. First up, the picture behind us, as you can so beautifully see, is the that's Rasputin, the Warmind. Ooh, pretty pictures. Destiny did its summit. I don't know what that means. I guess that just means they got together with some people and they were like, hey guys, what's the issues? And then they decided to change all of their thoughts about the game based off of this summit. And we don't know a whole lot about the Warmind DLC. We know some things, just not a whole lot. Stefen, where is your excitement level for the Warmind or for the Warmind expansion before pre-summit PS or post-summit PSS?
I mean, as far as excitement level go for Destiny 2, I'm just kind of like, I'm off the bandwagon, just in general. But after watching some things that people have said about how everything was done with the summit, and a lot of the streamers, I mean, basically what the summit was Destiny invited a lot of big, I shouldn't say Destiny, Bungie invited a lot of big Destiny community members, and it was kind of like a back and forth saying, this is what we're doing with the game, this is what we're planning on doing, what are your thoughts, how do you feel about this? And a lot of the streamers just basically said, hey, we can't really disclose what we talked about for, and I believe Dado's quote was the NDA paperwork said they will sue us for $5 million. So they couldn't quite say what was going on, but the recurring theme was they were very happy with all the answers that Bungie gave. So they said a lot of the game is going in the right direction, but they can't quite confirm anything, and Bungie's just not off the hook till everything actually happens. You know, they can talk all they want about it, but until, you know, it's now in the game, it doesn't matter what's on paper. So, I mean, that's honestly quite how I feel about it, is like, yeah, we've heard this whole like dog and pony show from Bungie before. It just comes down to, can they deliver? Will it be worth it?
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like they deliver in small spurts, at least in the beginning. We always have fun for about 2 weeks. It's just they need to continuously deliver. When new stuff comes out, the delivery, I don't ever feel like the delivery is bad. So with Destiny 2, launch was great. It was fun. And then with the last DLC, all the Osiris stuff, it was great. It was fun. But they have to keep us wanting to stay. They have to keep us engaged, and they have to make us want to keep playing the game. That's what they fail at. It's not launch of an expansion or launch of a game. It's what happens after the new wears off, right? It's like a new relationship where, oh man, we're doing it 14 times a day. But then whenever one of the people talks shit about the other people's friends, that's when shit goes downhill. And that is what my relationship with Destiny is like. I hope you all feel the same way. But seriously though, it's like the newness of the relationship wears off of whatever the new launch is, and there's nothing else there. There's no kids or dogs or mortgages to keep you engaged in the relationship, so you just leave. I honestly forgot that Destiny is a damn game. When I heard about the Warmind expansion, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Destiny is a thing that's out in the world that I once played. And it's sad because Destiny is a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's good.
The whole issue is just coming down to replayability for Destiny 2, and they just haven't quite figured out what they're going to do for that. I think at the end of the day, they're just going to go... A lot of this comes back to, let's just go back to Destiny 1, and I think they're going to come back to the whole random gun rolls and a little bit more grind for loot, which, you know, I thought I was against, but if it brings that replayability to the game, then I'm all for it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here. Not quite so much with the Warmind expansion, and I wasn't really expecting much out of the Warmind expansion, but what it does come September. Whatever is the next expansion in September or DLC or whatever they're going to do with it, that's just going to make or break the game at this point. And not necessarily, I don't think it can make the game anymore as just keep it out of the coffin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally been their problem since the launch of Destiny 1, right? It's like the only time I feel like the longest it's ever lasted where I wanted to keep playing it for the longest period of time was after the Taken King expansion.
And the Taken King was really good for them. I mean, that was a huge uptick in players. There's a whole bunch of new stuff to do. They had a new take on, you know, the sandbox and how we should be interacting with the game and the environment. And we've just gone so far away from that. And we're bringing back some elements, but again, it's just sort of like we're in the negative and we're just trying to get back to a zero at this point.
What a shitty place. And I'm gonna say this real fast before we dive into like some of the stuff. We're gonna stop talking about like the ramifications of the expansion and the problems that Bungie's had, because we literally and everybody that's played Destiny killed that to death. But that's been our complaint the whole time, right? That's it's so sad for a game that's so damn good. Our complaint the whole time has been shit. They're just digging themselves out of the grave that they've dug, but they're digging themselves deeper. So some of the stuff that's going to happen. So the polar ice cap of Mars, like Rasputin's awakening, and the ice caps of Mars are melting, and so that's like he's finally coming alive. What's the hive? Like, what's the deal with the hive? This new hive class or this new hive race on Mars?
It's just sort of like a little bit texture swap, palette swap on, the classic hive. This is like the quote unquote frozen hive, and all it really is hey, these are hive that were under the ice, and now that they've thawed a little bit, they're awake. So they've got kind of like ice chunks on them. Isn't that interesting? Please play our game.
It's been Destiny the whole time too. It's just like how I want to sit in the like be one of the artists for this game, and I want to sit in the room and be like, all right, we got a new race. We got to come up. How can we reskin them now? Like, it's got to be a challenge trying to figure out how you're going to reskin the models that are already there. Randy's already commenting and giving me a hard time. She says she kind of likes the new setup with stuff cropped out. It's just kind of odd because I'm in it and awake. Okay, yeah. So last night I fell asleep putting the kids to bed. And I was waiting for Stefen to get back from D&D, and I fell asleep. It's my fault. We were supposed to go on Monday, didn't get to. Supposed to go on yesterday. I fell asleep. Whatever. Randy says she actually likes seeing your background. My background is better cut out. My background was perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Stefen has too much stuff trying to focus out. That's true. You do have a lot. You don't have that much stuff. You just got like your green screen has folds. That's are you moving the one thing? That's the too much. Just that one thing that
I think it
slightly is. Move. All right, so let's go into the story. They're adding some story. They're adding in another what are those things called? Another strike? Is that what they're called? Strikes? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've played Destiny. I don't remember what everything's called now. They're adding in another strike, but the biggest thing is probably with the PvP, right? So they're going to be doing ranked PvP for Season 3, and you can get special weapons based off of your PvP rank. Weapons like Redrix's Claymore, which is up on the screen right now. Redrix's Claymore. I think that's kind of cool, but the PvP, like, that doesn't make the PvP less irritating. In fact, if you add in the ranked, it just makes the PvP more irritating, correct?
Yes and no. I mean, it's going to try to bring a much more competitive aspect to the game, and sort of a grind. I mean, not everyone's going to get this gun, and very few people are going to get the ornament for this. So it's going to make people want to try instead of like AFK out or screw around, at least until they get the gun. That's rough if you're not a big PvP person, because this gun's going to be really good, and it's kind of forcing you to do an activity that you might not want to do. But that's sort of like how it is for pretty much every game like this. If you look at like World of Warcraft or something, if you want to get certain equipment, you have to do certain things. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be a mixed bag. We'll see how the whole system works in the end, and if there's any other kind of rewards that drive players to do these activities. I think the big issue with this is going to be population drop off. I mean, you're going to have a month there where everyone's playing and trying to do this, and then after that, matchmaking is going to go to shit when there's no players in the player pool anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happened with freaking Destiny multiplayer every single time. And then there's going to be some broken PvP weapon. The only people that are still going to be playing it are the people that have that broken ass PvP weapon. Yeah, it's gonna be a case of the rich get richer. I mean, once they've gotten it, they're gonna start wrecking with it. On the upside, there's gonna be a lot of updates to the guns and exotics that you'll probably be able to mitigate that.
But again, it is the rich get richer.
What do you think about the private matches? I feel like we could have some fun with the private matches.
I mean, in reference to like one they got put into, again, this is another why wasn't this in there from the beginning of the game, because it took them forever, and Bungie won, Destiny 1 to do this.
Bungie 1 sounds like a terrible aircraft that was created and everybody thought it was going to be the best spacecraft that was ever created, and it was going to take us all across the galaxy, and then it launched and it was glorious, and then halfway to the moon it crashed and everybody wanted to leave, and then all the people on there died.
Yeah, it's like in the prologue of some like sci-fi movie somewhere where they're like, it's all that kind of that like tanned out like scenes, and they're just doing text over the screen because they couldn't hire a narrator.
No, they hired Peter Dinklage, but then he quit halfway through.
Yeah,
it's Lost in Space without the cinematography and the great writing. Is what
there you go. Yeah, instead of the Jupiter 2, it's the Bungie 1.
Oh my god. All right, so we're gonna move on from Destiny 2 because I mean, Jesus, we've talked about Destiny 2 a lot. Here's a look at some of the exotics that you can get. Don't you play video? Damn it! The Oculus Zol. My phone is freaking out right now. I don't know what's happening. Why is it buzzing so much? I'm throwing it. Ah! I was getting notifications like crazy. I think I just got 5,000 text messages. Okay, so the Oculus Zol actually looks pretty cool. It's like it makes you look like one of the Hive.
Yeah, but it looks like you got like some sort of like holistic root on your face.
Actually, well, it looks like a Hive's crotch. It looks like you have one of the Hive's crotches on your face.
I mean, it's a good look for Destiny players, you know, just take a cod piece and shove it on your face. Sure, why not?
The Frosties, well, I thought those were already, or was that Destiny 1? They run together because they're essentially the same game with miniguns.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of them were updated. So I don't know if these, I can't remember if these were already in the game and they're just getting an update. I can't remember, to be honest.
The worm husk crown looks awesome. That's a hunter helmet, and it looks real cool. I'm choking on my own breath right now. I don't know how that's possible. Can you choke on your own breath?
Sure, why not? I mean, you're doing it.
Yeah, I am. The Apotheosis veil looks really cool, too. That's one thing. Destiny makes things look so pretty. They make the dress up real pretty. The Huckleberry. I'm your Huckleberry. Jesus Christ, how many times are people going to say that joke?
2.
Not 2 times. I will literally say it every time I kill someone. The flavor text even says, "I'm yours."
Sure.
Stefen, what movie is that from? You know.
Oh, I don't remember. At this point, it's just Overwatch in my head. I can't quite remember.
Oh my god. Well, we're not continuing the show until you can tell me what movie the quote "I'm your Huckleberry" is from.
It's
I will give
that
you a
one.
hint. Kurt Russell is in it.
Oh god. No, that doesn't help at all.
Billy Bob Thornton is in it. Sam Elliott is in it.
Jesus Christ.
Bill Paxton is in it.
Twister. I don't know.
Tombstone. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, I just really don't care.
Just absolutely.
I just really don't care about Tombstone.
All right, moving on from Destiny 2 stuff, because Stefen ruined my night by... What do you mean don't care about Tombstone?
I don't care about Tombstone unless it's yours.
Oh my god. That's awful. Moving on now. Moving on to God of War. Look at that troll. Look at Atreus, the boy, and then look at Kratos. Ooh, it's actually it's a really pretty game. God of War, I've been playing it for the last few days. I didn't get it when everybody else got it. I had to wait until I got it from Gamefly, but I can already say that God of War is the best game that I've played on PS4. I like it, but so far, The Last of Us has a great storyline, but the gameplay of this is phenomenally better. I'm going to choose this over The Last of Us. I'm going to choose this over Horizon Zero Dawn. This is going to win Game of the Year this year. Game of the Year it's already no contest. I think this is This is as clear cut of a winner for Game of the Year in 2018 as Breath of the Wild was for us last year. And it's incredible. They've added in some customization options with gear, some RPG elements into it. The combat is just amazing. There's the dialogue, the storyline is great. It's the fight mechanics of some of the fights are really cool. This game is incredible, and it makes me sad that you still won't play it because you still say it's just one big escort quest. But I like. It's this. I don't know. It's great.
That's all I'm hearing.
You need to play this game. Like, you need to go find somebody that has a copy of it, break into their house, tie them up and gag them, steal it for a few days, and then go release them and give them their game back. But you need to play this game. The reviews that it's getting like crazy reviews. I'll go to the Metacritic reviews real fast. I mean, it's got a 95 on Metacritic. And it's getting 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It's going to be, every other company is going to be very hard pressed to beat this game this year. Especially when we talked about last week or the week before, whatever it was, about like what the gaming landscape looks like in the future for like the next, for the rest of this year. I can't think of anything that can beat this game. Maybe Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe. But this game is absolutely incredible from top to bottom. What have you seen of God of War, and what are your reservations still after everything you've seen and read?
Watching 2 to 3 videos, I will say that the combat looked wildly repetitive.
It's not.
I mean, I just saw a lot of X throwing and X returning, and it was kind of boring. And I'll say this. How long was this game in the making? Was it like 10 years?
Ooh, I don't know. Let's look it up real fast.
It's like 10 years in the making or something like that.
War.
And from what I was seeing, there's like these trolls in the game that, they just advertised on that picture that we saw there.
Right.
And that they have reskinned versions that you fight of just different elements of said trolls. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh, don't even. That's
no.
It's only like one character. Like, there's so much more than just trolls.
No. But from what I was reading, they show up like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, but through the like this, how expansive this game seems to be, it's such a minor thing. Like their trolls aren't completely reskinned. They're just like, they look slightly different and they're wearing different armor and stuff. But they're trolls. How different are they supposed to look?
Just don't do multiple trolls. You do one, you do it, then that's it. Like, I don't know. Like, from what I was just saying, it looks fine, but I don't think it's as hyped up as it should be. Well, not saying it is hyped up. I'm saying it's overhyped. The situation is like, there's just nothing to play right now. So a game that even is remotely good like this just looks like an all-star.
I will tell you right now, it's more than that. It's more than just because there's nothing to play right now. I promise. Like everything, the storyline, the dialogue, I know it's linear, but it doesn't feel too linear. The combat is, I mean, you can do a lot of axe throwing, but the people that do a lot of axe throwing, which I have at times, but I'm doing different stuff now. But the people that do a lot of axe throwing are the people that are too scared to actually get into a fight. There's so many different ways you can fight in this game. It's incredible. You can fight with a shield. You can fight with your fists. You can fight with the axe. You can throw the axe. You can use the wolves that Atreus can spawn. Atreus can shoot his bow. You can dodge roll. You can block. You can like, there's so many different play styles. It honestly, it feels there are similarities between this and Dark Souls. It looks like an even prettier and more better optimized Dark Souls is what it feels like. And the storyline's better, the characters are better, the graphics are better. I seriously doubt that. I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, when you look at God of War's like history as a game, it's not like a mechanically driven game. It's not like an in-depth game. It's God of War has always been like, here's a cool story, go bash some heads in, get a little gore into it,
and enjoy the ride. It's a very cinematic game. I mean, as noted by all its fucking QuickTime sequences that it's always had. And I just don't expect like the depth that you're speaking of.
It's there.
Sure, you
I
can
swear.
So I'm looking at this video right now. Like, it's hack and slash.
It's not though. These are really, really minor enemies. These are minor enemies at the very beginning of the game. So these guys, you can just hack and slash them. But when you get it deeper into the game, I'm not even that far into the game. I'm still in Alfheim. But when you get deeper into the game, it's not as easy. You can't just hack and slash. You'll die. You'll die if you just hack and slash. You have to parry, you have to block, you have to dodge roll, or else you'll die real fast against some of these enemies. Unless, I mean, if you put it on the easiest difficulty, because unlike Dark Souls, you could change the difficulty. If you want to put it on the easiest difficulty, you can, and then it makes it more hack and slashy. But if you put it on the balanced experience, it's actually it's a challenging game. It can be fairly challenging. You got to learn the moves that the enemies are gonna make against you. You got to learn how to counter them. I haven't it's not quite Dark Souls, but it's very similar. Maybe I guess the Witcher 3 kind of difficulty level is a better way to put it. It's challenging but not impossible. Like Dark Souls at times could be impossible, but this is challenging, not impossible. Now, mind you, I haven't gone against some of the big enemies. I've seen some videos, and I've tried not to watch too many because I didn't want any spoilers, but I've seen some videos of some like big ass enemies that have massive hitboxes, and I'm not looking forward to going against it. I am, but I'm not. But there is still some of the quick time cinematic stuff in there, but for the most part, you gotta, if you want to play it where it's a challenge, like at that medium level, that medium difficulty, it can be a bit of a challenge. And I just give it an hour. Give it an hour of playing the game. And after the first boss fight, when you fight who I think it's Baldur, I'm not quite sure yet, but they've alluded to the fact that it might be Baldur. When you fight Baldur, you'll be like, holy shit, yes, this game is awesome. That's more of a cinematic fight because it's for the story, but there's other fights in there up to that point that show you how difficult the game can be, and that's still in the tutorial mode of the game. So I give it a chance. Try it out. Let's read some tweets real fast. We're going to breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. So read some of the tweets. Look at this. Until Last of Us Part 2 comes out, God of War is undisputedly the best PS4 game of all time. I mean, like, the PS4 has been out for, what, 4 years? So, like, all of all time is not that long.
I mean, for the length of the game, like, for the length of the console lifetime, that's fairly long. I mean, it's not, we're not too far off from another console being announced. But again, when your other comparison is like Last of Us, which I feel is, here's the thing. I'm not saying that they're bad games. I'm just saying that they're fine games. And it's just overhyped. It's more of a cinematic experience than it is like a great gameplay experience. And I'll compare that to, like, let's say Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was so mechanically deep that you could literally do pretty much anything you wanted.
Right.
Cinematically, it was an awful game. The cinematics were terrible. Story was like non-existent. But it was like the sandbox to end all sandboxes. Right. Last of Us and God of War have always been cinematic games. Right. There's not really that much depth to them, you know.
The only reason I say Last of Us is because Last of Us is it's in no way comparable to The Last of Us. Like gameplay wise, and like cinematically, yeah, but gameplay wise, it's not comparable at all. It's more, honestly, if I had to pick and choose, it's like some God of War elements with some Witcher types of elements, with some of the Breath of the Wild type elements.
But then looking at that, like, if it's like you're saying Witcher elements, I just expect Witcher to be the better game in pretty much every category.
I know,
compared to God of War.
This is better than The Witcher, than The Witcher 3. The one thing The Witcher 3 is has massive depth, right? Like, you can play that game for longer than you can play freaking Skyrim. So it definitely wins in just absolute, completely far depth. But gameplay mechanics and challenge, I'll take God of War over that. I think God of War is a more difficult game. I
don't equate difficulty to good game.
That's fair.
Number one. I like a difficult game doesn't mean crap. I mean, in the 80s era games were difficult. Contra's a difficult game. How does that compare to today's standards as far as what makes a good game, a good game good?
Just listen to the reviews, Stefen. God of War is that rare game that manages to reinvent itself while still maintaining what made its predecessors such delights to play. A triumph, and well worth your time. Now grab your axe and get chopping. That's from Yahoo, Stefen. When has Yahoo ever lied to us?
When they said they were a good company.
God of War is one of those rare titles that define the console generation. Kratos' fighting has been refined to its very best, and the lands of Midgard are filled with wonders of all manner to explore and defeat. That's from WCCF Tech. When has WCCF Tech ever lied to us, Stefen? Forbes gave it a 95. The Sydney Morning Herald gave it a 100, Stefen. Are you going to argue against the Sydney Morning Herald?
Yes.
All right, moving on from God of War. Just play it. Play it and you'll understand. You won't understand until you play it. Moving on to the Avengers Infinity War. That's my Infinity War music. That's the soundtrack.
No.
Okay, so Avengers Infinity War comes out Thursday night. I'm going to see it Friday. Stefen's going to see it Saturday. Did
you put this collage together?
I did not. I found it on the online.
I was just saying, because this collage looks awful.
Yeah, I just found it because it's the one that was least likely to get us in trouble with YouTube for copyright infringement. Because like every video, every show that we've done since we started doing YouTube, we've got an email saying, you infringed on somebody's copyrights, you dumbass. And so I did this one. Anyway, Avengers Infinity War comes out Thursday night, and we want to do our Infinity War predictions. Obviously, on Monday, assuming that I don't fall asleep and Stefen doesn't disappear.
No, I'm always here, just waiting.
I can't see
quietly, silently.
It's literally you always waiting and just typing in our Facebook Messenger chat, just like blame Josh. Just waiting for hours, blaming me for everything that goes wrong, or just things, or just life. But we're going to do our Avengers Infinity War review on Monday. I thought about maybe waiting a week, but I don't want to. We're going to do it on Monday, and then we'll just share it out. And if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't watch it. But still watch our show. Watch our show on mute. That way we get the views, but you don't hear the spoilers. Which camera do I look at? I can't remember. So we're going to do our Avengers Infinity War predictions tonight. And Stefen, I want you to start us off. What's your first prediction for Avengers Infinity War?
Well, let's go sequential order. I think my very first prediction, and of course I haven't read anything about, the movie's technically already released and there are already spoilers floating around online. I haven't read anything. So if I say anything that is correct, it was pure prediction based, and I apologize. But I believe the movie is going to open up with the destruction of Nova Prime. I believe that Thanos comes to Nova Prime to gather the Power Stone. And, we've seen him in the trailer with the Power Stone already in the glove. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be him just wrecking Nova Prime. And I think the after credit scene of Thor Ragnarok, where we see his ship from Thor's point of view, is already post Nova Prime. Sort of what they did with the after credit scene to Doctor Strange and what happened in Thor Ragnarok, where that after credit scene was kind of like superimposed like 10-15 minutes into the movie.
My first prediction. I'm distracted because your forehead keeps disappearing. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. My first prediction is that I'm gonna steal this one because I thought it before Carrie put it on our Facebook chat, but just know, Carrie, I'm not stealing this from you. This was already a prediction of mine. My prediction is that Pepper Potts dies in the beginning of the movie. Something sad happens, like something big happens in the movie, because people, after they saw it, they were giving like emoji reviews on Twitter, and it was like, there was like sad face, fire, 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 dead, dead, dead. And so I think Pepper dies in the beginning, or towards the beginning.
Well, I think the kicker with the destruction of Nova Prime is that we get to see the death of John C. Reilly's character and Glenn Close. Both big actors. John C. Reilly was really popular with Guardians 1, just as kind of like a comedic relief. And we're just going to launch with the death of, Glenn Close really didn't do much of the movie, but it's still Glenn Close, So we're just going to... Huh?
Glenn Close?
Yeah.
Who did Glenn Close play?
The leader of Nova Prime.
I don't remember that. Was that Glenn Close?
Yeah, that was
How
Glenn
do I
Close.
not remember that? It's been too long since I've watched
it
Guardians.
It's a super, super bit role. I mean, she's probably in the movie for all of like 2 minutes. But yeah, she is the leader of, the Nova Corps and Nova Prime.
Okay. See, I don't know enough about Nova Prime. See, you read the damn graphic novel. And I said, I'm going to read it. And then I didn't.
Nothing with Nova Prime is in the original Infinity Gauntlet line. Nothing with Nova, the hero, Riley Reed, I believe his name, is also in the comics.
He's not in the comics at all? See, I thought he was.
Maybe in the later, but not in the initial Infinity Gauntlet storyline. So, again, they've said that this is their take on, if there'll be elements borrowed, but don't expect a storyline similar. And we do know the Power Stone was left by Peter and the Guardians of the Galaxy to the Nova Corps to protect it. So I think Thanos is just going to barge in, blow up the planet, take it. And this will open up later story for the hero Nova to take up the mantle. And we'll get, the character Nova later on.
That'd be really cool, because Nova in the stuff that I've seen and read him in, Nova's actually a really cool character. My prediction is that Loki betrays the entire group. At some point in the movie, Loki will betray them. And then he's going to regret it, and then he's going to help them, but he's going to betray them at some point.
I really don't expect Loki to do that. I actually expect Loki to die.
You expect Loki to die?
I expect him to die, and he will be like kind of a self-redeeming sacrifice, probably to save his brother Thor. But
like that.
They've been leaning towards Loki being at least what looks like an on-screen death.
Right.
He might not actually die, come later movies or anything. Like, it's just like he was playing dead. But I do expect Loki to sacrifice himself for the greater good. He's been a fan favorite since his introduction. And Tom Hiddleston really hasn't been saying much during all of this.
That's true. I've been oddly silent.
Yeah, he's been very silent. And for a fan favorite like Loki, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Man, I like that one. My other one, I'm just gonna go with it. Cap dies. That one's obvious though, but I'm predicting Cap dies, and then
I don't think this movie. I think it'll be the next movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think contractually he still has the other one. I mean, that could be something down to like flashbacks.
Yeah,
but I don't think he'll die this movie. We'll get the big showdown, and in the comics, Cap does give a very large speech to Thanos to distract him during one point in time. And I expect something exactly along those lines of him giving Thanos this whole, like, we're better than you because we're a team and we care.
Yeah.
Sort of speech.
And then he's going to get blasted.
Probably.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Captain America, the most boring character in the Marvel Universe. He's boring as shit.
No, by no means is he the most boring.
But he's up there.
No,
all good.
We just had a whole story arc where he was the leader of Hydra, and
that's true, yeah.
and he had been the leader of Hydra all along.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Ooh, that's crazy. What do you think happens with the Hulk? How involved do you think the Hulk is? Because I saw a thing. It's like, how strong is the Hulk versus Thanos? Who's stronger? Blah, blah. It was like some BuzzFeed-esque type of bullshit.
Hulk's stronger.
You think Hulk's stronger than Thanos?
Hulk is like one of the strongest beings in the Marvel universe.
Isn't he like have almost like infinite strength?
Yeah, it's the angrier he gets, the more strength he gets. He is just a rage-filled machine.
That's scary.
I think at one point there's a comic storyline where he throws a planet. Like I think he like destroys a planet by throwing a planet. He's just weird like that. Like he's one of those like he's an unstoppable force.
Right.
And we just don't really see that in the cinematic universe because it's just too strong. We haven't had any like character, and we'll probably see it with Thanos to a degree, but we just haven't had a situation where we need this like godlike being. I mean, even Thor has been, reduced to mortality.
That's true. I didn't even think about that because he can beat up on Thor and he can beat up on Loki. All right. So, what's your final prediction for this movie?
My final prediction, the one that I've been saying for quite a while, is that the movie will end with Thanos.
The movie will end?
Yeah, the movie will, in fact,
That's
end.
my prediction.
I do hear that some of the complaints about the movie is that it's about 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and that it's just so action-packed that it is exhausting. Which I fully expect. A lot of these are like early reviews of things that, spoiler-free reviews that I was reading.
Right.
Were things that I like completely expected, and I don't know what other people were expecting. My favorite one was it's just overstuffed. There's too many people. I'm like, well, duh. Have you seen the cast lineup?
Yeah.
Like, I expect no less.
But if they made it, the problem is, I would rather leave a movie mentally exhausted because there was so much than not feel like that there was enough in it.
Right. You don't want to. I mean, the saying is what, like, always leave them wanting more.
Yes.
I don't know if you want that with these Marvel movies. This is the culmination of about 11 years,
right,
in cinematic history. I don't want to be disappointed.
Right.
I want to cry. I want to laugh. I want to cheer. This is a movie that, yeah, the audience, the theaters are going to be filled for weeks, if not months. And I think that's completely fine. There's not going to be any whisper moments where I want everyone to shut the hell up. I'll get, kind of upset if there's like a big on-screen death and someone starts like cracking jokes or laughing or something like that. But I think the audience and having an interactive audience for a movie like this will be important, Right. It's sort of like the Avengers themselves. Like, you want to kind of share in their victories and feel in their times of defeat. The movie's not going to be a very deep movie by any means.
Right.
But it's kind of the depth that you lend the movie.
Well, because the depth that we've lent this movie is, you said it a few minutes ago, is a decade. There's a decade of depth in so many movies. I was going to do this and I completely forgot about it, and now I don't know that I have enough time. I could try to do it tomorrow, into tomorrow night, but I wanted to try to watch through every single movie before I went and saw that. And I should have started today, but I haven't had enough time. But like, there's 10
I think
years.
that's impossible at this point. I think that might be physically impossible.
Not if I don't sleep.
No, I actually do not know if there's literally... If you have the Time Stone and the abilities of Doctor Strange, you may have enough time.
I'm going to look up the Marvel timeline. Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline.
If you take all the movies and then multiply them by 2, you'll probably get a rough estimate of how long it would take to watch everything in a row.
Oh, God. So, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 36 hours, totally doable. I have roughly 36 hours starting now. If I don't sleep, I can do it. My God, that's so many movies.
Yeah.
What in the hell? That's okay, so there we go. We've got 36 hours of movie time, roughly, give or take whatever. But there's 18 movies and 10 years of us waiting for this culminating moment. And honestly, we want them to leave us wanting a little more, because this isn't even the full culminating moment. This is just part one of the culmination of what we've all been watching for 10 years. And this is the moment when we first all went and saw that Iron Man movie in 2008. This is the moment where we're like, man, I can't wait for that. And it's finally here. We're literally a day away from it, or 2 days for me, 3 days for you. And I'm incredibly excited. I don't think we're going to be disappointed. Let's go through the Metacritic, the Metascore. Okay, what is this? What trash is this? Who's this? God, I hate movie critics. Who are the 11 movie critics that didn't give it a positive? It's a 68 on Metacritic.
And this is what I saw some of the early reviews for this. And I think what it just comes down to is, like, they're being overly critical.
Yes.
Like, they're kind of asking more from this movie than they should rightfully expect. I mean, like, when we get the wide reviews, I think that'll even out a little bit, and it'll probably end up somewhere in the 80s. But end all be all, it's an action movie, guys.
Yeah.
It is not Casablanca. It is not some cerebral movie that you're here sitting there to think about. It's the Marvel version of the Expendables.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's read some of these. Let's read some of the bad reviews, because some of the stuff that they said, I just made me want to just shove icicles in their eyes. The Globe and Mail Toronto, John Semley says, even by Marvel's own standards of serviceable mediocrity, Infinity War fails. And he gave it a 38. Fuck that guy.
And this is just like the trend with the Marvel movies, is where everyone's like, they're all mediocre. It's like, are they really mediocre? I mean, they do what they set out to do, which is just to have a fun summertime popcorn flick.
Yes. Do we put too much pressure on movies, like especially so Star Wars, Marvel, DC, like half of this, like, obviously we get some amazing movies all along the way. We get the Thor Ragnaroks, and we get the Guardians of the Galaxies, and we get the Logans. Notice I didn't name a single DC movie. We get those movies along the way, but are we valuing what we're supposed to see from these other Marvel movies way too highly? Because we get, like, I feel like the norm for us should be, let's go in, it should be like Ready Player One. When we went to go see Ready Player One, it's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna get a drink and some popcorn. I'm gonna have a blast watching this movie. I want to watch some team up moves. I want to watch Iron Man. I want to watch Captain America deflect Iron Man's laser off of his shield while he's flying through the air because the Hulk threw him there. And then I want to watch the laser bounce off of Mjolnir because Thor's holding him in the air. And then Thor imbues the laser with lightning, and then he throws the lightning laser in Thanos' eyeball. Like, that's what I want to see from this movie. I want to see these crazy fights, some awesome action sequences, and it doesn't have to be like Dances with Wolves quality writing and story.
That's your go-to? Is Dances with
It's
Wolves?
the first one that popped up into my head. There's two movies that
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Wait, two movies. What was the other one?
Last of the Mohicans. I don't know why.
That's your other one? Last of the Mohicans?
Last of the Mohicans is a great movie.
Sure, after I watched it in, like, middle school history class 30 times.
Also, Last of the Mohicans has one of the best soundtracks. You know what? Leave me and my movie choices alone. But yeah, like, do you feel like we put too much pressure on these movies now?
Yes. By the way, are we still live? Is my... Okay, my end just got wonky there. Yes. We definitely do. It's just an issue of setting expectations and realizing what you're seeing. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people, just because it's going to be the biggest movie event of the decade does not mean it is a movie that needs to rack your brain. You know, it's not a trying to find a good movie here, like an in-depth. I would say something like The Fountain, but like all of three people saw The Fountain.
Yeah, I've never seen
So
The Fountain. I've seen Last of the Mohicans. Come on, man. You
well,
got to use
we'll,
dated 90s references. Come on.
we'll say something like Requiem for a Dream.
There you go.
You know, it's not supposed to like make you think about your life and the lives of people around
Right.
you. It's supposed to go, make you cheer. In this case, make you cry because people have developed feelings for these characters.
Right.
And the other issue that I have with people in this movie is that they're treating it as some sort of self-contained item. This is not a 3-hour movie. At the end of the day, this is a 40-hour movie.
Yep.
It's kind of like watching. I think Return of the King stands on its own, but watching The Two Towers without watching The Fellowship of the Ring.
Right, exactly.
You can't just say, "Oh, The Fellowship, it was good, but it was lacking story. There was just like a lot of fighting." Well, yeah, the story was coming from the two other movies, and it was a midway point. And even with this, it is technically a midway point. We're not at the finale quite yet.
Right.
So, I just think these critics are being overly. I guess the best word would be critical, but they're just doing too much.
Yeah, they are. I mean, look at some of these other reviews. But IGN, Scott Kalura gave it a 90. I would imagine this movie's probably for me, if I had out of 100, I will end up rating it somewhere between 80 and 90. If I had to guess, just off the top of my head, unless it just absolutely blows me away. But Scott Kalura from IGN says, using the strength of its powerful and interesting villain to set the stakes higher than ever, Avengers Infinity War successfully brings together the past 10 years of Marvel movies into a largely effective cocktail of superhero dramatics. That's what it's all about. It's not all about one self-contained movie. It's about the culmination of everything that we've watched for a decade. Paste Magazine, Michael Bergen. Normally, the reviews that I read on Paste, they just trash stuff, and he gave it a 93. Says Infinity War is epic in a way that has been often aspired to, but never fully grasped when it comes to the translation from comic book panel to the big screen. It's what happens when movie makers take their source material seriously, eschewing unnecessary melodrama, even as they fully embrace the grandeur, the sheer spectacle of it all. That's what it is. It's not taking itself too seriously. And I think that's what a lot of critics have difficulty with. I think they have difficulty with not taking superhero movies too seriously.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to the size of these movies. There's so big events every year that they have to treat them as sort of this like hallmark in cinema for the year. And that's just not the case. As I said, go watch Mother, like a Darren Aronofsky flick or something like that. Like, go to Sundance or go to international film festivals if you want to get your cinematic rocks off.
Or watch
just
old
have fun.
90s movies.
Why are we going to 90s movies? That's
Newsies.
Like Newsies. Like Newsies. I don't know if anyone's ever said that sentence.
Newsies is a great movie.
It was so terribly panned when it came out.
No.
But
panned by who? By critics that don't like this?
Yes. The Broadway musical is what took it off. But the movie itself, people hated.
It's the best Christian Bale movie on the market, hands down. Not even close.
The problem is you're watching Christian Bale movies.
Christian Bale, cowboy.
I'd say bail out the bail.
Mexico. All right, that's it for tonight's show. Stefen, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
I don't care. I just wanted to do that to you. Thank you so much for watching the show. We are Nerded Up, broadcasting on Phantom, Facebook's only live sports network. You can find us on Facebook.com/NerdedUpPod. You can find us at NerdedUpPod on Twitter. You can go follow our podcast on Podbean too, or something like that. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching us. I'm Josh Beard at Josh Beard Radio on Twitter. He is Stefen Mazzone at Masons on Twitter. Randy, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for not being too mean to me tonight. Thank you everybody else for watching us. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you on Monday for our Avengers Infinity War review. Bye.